Hello YouTube, I've got another high ELO ranked game here with the teams being Aatrox, Varus, Elise, Fiddlesticks, Jarvan 4 versus Sejuani, somebody who hasn't loaded yet, Shen, Tristana, and Janna. So it looks like the lane matchups are going to be Elise versus Sejuani in the jungle. At top lane it is most likely Aatrox versus Shen. At bottom lane I'm guessing it's going to be Varus and Fiddlesticks versus Tristana and Janna. And hold up. No. Aatrox is probably going to be mid. And Jarvan's probably going to be top. And I'm not quite sure who this last one is. It's most likely a mid, probably an AP carry, something along those lines. So, kind of an interesting team makeup here we have here. The high ELO person is this Aatrox with the Futurama. Futurama is the player, very high ELO in the Challenger League. I don't recognize anybody else, but Slippy Toad I feel like I have seen before, but I'm not quite sure what to make of that. Aha, Draven as the AD. Whoa. I wonder if it's AP Trist. I doubt it. But we do have Draven. So it's actually probably Draven and Janna at bottom lane versus Fiddlesticks and Varus. And I'm not sure. Tristana's probably mid. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. We will see. Maybe it's Draven versus Aatrox mid. I don't know. There's quite a bit of variety here. So as far as summoner spells goes, we got barriers on Varus and Draven. Ignites on Jarvan, Tristana, Shen, and it looks like this game is going to load, so without further ado, let's get this party started. So we'll match them up how I think it will line up. It's my best guess. Yep, AP Trist. It is indeed AP Trist. I haven't seen AP Trist in a long time in a high ELO players, so kind of interesting. Oh, the support is running extra gold. Oh, how cute. Okay, so let's take a quick look at what everybody's building. Aatrox here. Looks like he's running quite a bit of armor pen. Probably 21-9. Yeah, it looks like he's running the non-crit version of the 21 AD tree. And he's got a fair amount of attack. So he's probably got flat AD marks with armor pen quints, something along those lines, or vice versa, not quite sure. As far as Varus goes, he is running lots of AD with a little bit of armor pen, and that's mainly, it looks like he's just 21-9 is what I would expect. A little bit of lifesteal as well, so he probably has lifesteal quints. Quick look at Elise. Looks like she's got a little bit of spell pen, probably 21-9 as well, maybe 21-09, not quite sure. As far as Fiddlesticks, looks like he's got some magic pen marks, but other than that, he looks like he is probably some combination of defense and utility. Jarvan is running just a little bit of armor pen, so he's probably 921, and he's probably got, I'm not sure what he's got for marks, but he doesn't have flat armor pen, so that's a quick look at the blue team. Now for the purple team, Sejuani is running, looks like 021-9 is probably my best guess here. For Draven, it looks like he is also running the high AD with a little bit of armor pen there, and quite a bit of lifesteal, so he also probably has those lifesteal quints. Shen, on the other hand, is running, it looks like 921 with the emphasis on the spell pen. Tristana is running probably 2109 or yeah, I would guess 2109 with the high magic pen there as well. Janna is running probably some combination of defense and utility, probably 0921 or some combination. It's always hard to tell with those. So that's a quick look at what everybody's running. So now let's get into the action. Looks like everybody's starting fairly standard. Sejuani looks like she did a smiteless blue there, and then did a quick red, and looks like she's going to gank top fairly quickly. Elise, on the other hand, decided to start... Oh, wow, she is so much slower than this. Holy crap, Sejuani's already ganking here. Uh-oh, it looks like Elise is going to... Oh, Elise stole the red. Okay, that's what's happening here. Uh-oh, Sejuani's going to get caught here. But Elise is the one that's in major out of position. Does a little bit of a juke there. Jarvan going in with the dash, doing a little bit of damage. And now Shen is caught a little bit out of position. We're going to Watch. No, we're going to back it up so we can see this first blood here. Aatrox taking quite a bit of damage there. And triggers the passive there on Aatrox. And it looks like he's going to come in, try and do a little sustain. And she just walks up and auto-attacks him. That was poorly played. Back at top lane. And it looks like not much is going to happen here. A little bit of damage exchange. And it looks like this is going to force both of them from purple team back here. And Elise is probably going to head back into her jungle here. So at bottom lane, looks like they're both playing relatively passive with a slight little CS advantage in Varus. And Janna doing what she can to interrupt here and try and prevent this Varus from doing too much farming. But it looks like they're having a little bit of lane dominance here. But that's to be expected when it's Draven versus Varus there. Aatrox here once again trying to do a little bit of initiation. Varus getting incredibly low. Nice little Draven Q. Janna knockup might see the tick out here, and down he goes to that Draven passive. And Fiddlesticks forced to flash away there just because of the sheer damage there of that early game Draven Janna combo there. Those shields, they just do so much damage there with those spinning blades. And Tristana forced to jump over the wall there at mid lane, trying to catch that Elise a little bit out of position, but unfortunately gets caught on her own. So Elise doing a nice little play there early game, stealing the red, but purple team takes a quick lead there at both mid and bottom lane. So it looks like Aatrox is trying to do what he can. That's why. It's just a counter pick. Tristana trying to counter pick that Aatrox there. Trying to prevent a lot of that sustain, hitting him with that explosive shot active effect. Really tarnishes his sustain there, and that's Aatrox is kind of not overpowered right now, but he is very strong, but it's mainly because of his sustain early game. He's got incredible early game sustain, mid game sustain as well, and then he just does incredible amounts of damage once he gets his ult because he just has so much attack speed. Plus she has a push away, so he can't cut the distance nearly as effectively. So kind of interesting there. Back at bottom lane, it looks like they're just trading damage a little bit here, but here comes a gank here at mid lane. I doubt anything's going to really happen here. And it looks like Aatrox manages to scare her away. Jarvan is coming down from top lane. Shen pings the MIA, and there's a forced flash there. Did a nice little attempt to initiate there with the Q there on Aatrox. I really enjoyed playing Aatrox. I've only played him a couple times, and but he is a lot of fun. I feel like he's like Tryndamere or Yi 2.0. I'm not sure which you want to compare him more to, but he is incredible. Like, his passive is so very strong. Just that bonus attack speed that he gets with the changes that they had with Season 3 to the attack speed cost, it is just so potent, those attack speed combos there that he gets from his passive. It's pretty ridiculous. I never actually looked at what their starting items are, but it looks like everybody's going fairly standard. Both of the jugglers started with those Hunter's Machete boots. I'm not sure what Tristana started with. I think it was boots. Didn't actually take a look. Lots of Dorn's blades here. They did recently rework a lot of the Dorn's items, and now they're much more effective at... Sorry, brain farted there. Much more effective at being gold efficient because so many items there were just much more gold efficient, and they also decreased the cost of boosts down to 325 gold there as the base, but they increased the cost of tier 2 boots. So one thing to keep in mind is overall boots didn't increase, but it made it... Oh gosh, look at that burst. Holy crap. Tristana doing a beautiful little burst there with a jump ult combo. Well, that's what AP Triss does. She already has 92 AP, and you gotta remember her ult has a 1-to-1 ratio, I believe it is. And here's some damage trading here going on here, and this is where Aatrox excels, forcing that flash, tries to jump over the wall, but doesn't quite catch her. And Tristana just wreaking havoc here, but manages to pick up the Fiddlesticks there with a nice little tick out there with her active on the explosive shots, and I think Varus might go down there to a nice little Draven spinning axe there. And purple team is doing a good job here roaming, and blue team has still not gotten any blood on their hands. Tristana just doing beautiful work, and she is going to get very scary here very quickly because she's already at 1,000 gold extra here. Elise coming down, trying to do a little bit of damage here. Not going to be quite enough to pick up this Draven. Going to probably be enough to force him away. Aatrox also coming down here. His passive is back up, so he can do some pretty hefty shenanigans, but he looks like he's decided it's not worth it because I'm pretty sure he's scared of that Tristana. Her ult is back up, so she can do some pretty considerable burst here once again. So Jarvan going for that big armor pen very early, going for that quick brutalizer with a little bit of sustain there with the rejuvenation beads. Varus on the other hand going for quite a bit of sustain there. There's the Shen ult down on Draven here at this bottom lane. And now here comes the counter assault. Draven is relatively low, so he does need to be careful that he doesn't get cheese killed. There is a Janna ult trying to push that Elise back, but she manages to get away just in time. And now that Varus little E there manages to slow these, and now purple team is on the defensive. There's the Elise flash into the stun. There's the fear, and Draven goes down. Blue team gets their first kill, but here comes the Tristana. She does get exhausted. That prevents a lot of that damage, but she still might tick out to that explosive shot, and it looks like she will. And now that Tristana is so very scary. She needs to go back, and it looks like she can actually get a needlessly large rod or Stark Boots. I'm not sure which is better for this early in the game. I would probably say the needlessly large rod, just because of the fact that her AP coefficients are so huge there on her jump and her ultimate, and her explosive shot as well. They're pretty good on. So looks like Draven heads back, decides to buy a BF sword and a Doran's blade. Not quite sure there, and it looks like Aatrox is going to get caught. Sejuani whiffs the ult. That's actually going to be relatively huge. He manages to jump over the wall, and passive still might trigger here. Nope, not quite. Very, very close, though. Tristana getting him so very low that health pot manages to save his passive for another date, and that's going to allow him to be not just blown away here by the Tristana ult, which is almost back up yet again, but she is relatively and that ult does take a considerable amount of mana. She is only at 76, so she might just blow him away here very shortly, but there's that sustain. A little explosive shot there. Varus ult going down there in a defensive manner, trying to prevent that Draven there from doing too much more damage there, but that double spinning axe with that BF sword and Janna shield is just doing terrible amounts of damage here at this bottom lane. And here comes a gank here. Elise initiating in there with the repel. We don't have the jump because she is so very whiffs the stun though, and that's very huge because now Tristan is going to get away. Nice little juking, little weaving back and forth zigzag. So Shen calling the MIA at top. Juke's too good indeed. So it looks like as far as CS goes, the gold advantage is slightly in favor for that Sejuani at mid lane, in the jungle. At top lane, they are incredibly even. The Tristana is behind in terms of CS, but she's way ahead in terms of kills. Manages to slow down that Aatrox, but there's that terrible amounts of sustain there. Just absolutely incredible with that ultimate, but the ultimate is going to wear off here, and now all of a sudden Sejuani is going to be a little bit scary because she does have that high CC, and there is a nice little fiddle bounce back and forth there between those two, but doesn't do too much damage because that fiddle doesn't have that much damage right now. He only has that Spirit Stone, the Sight Stone, and so he's only going to have that inherent AP that he has. How much AP does he have this early? He has 0 AP this early. That's right, he's running those support specs, so he's really relying on that fear for that lane presence and the drain for the sustain. Plus the ultimate does some pretty good damage. Here comes a gank here at this bottom lane here. We're going to have a 4-man gank here on this bottom turret versus 3. And I'm not sure how well it's going to be. Sejuani's ult is probably going to be back up here very shortly. And it already is. Oh man. There's the bait. Janna coming out, managing to bait them down. The Draven manages to pick up the Fiddlestick. Sejuani comes in. There's a Shen ult to prevent her from going down. Tristana comes in, doing some nice damage, picks up the double kill. And yeesh, this is starting to look very, very bad for this blue team. This Tristana is starting to get completely out of control there. With that needlessly large rod, her ult does incredible amounts of damage. Let's take a quick peek at that. Tristana, her ultimate is doing almost 600 damage at this early stage in the game. We're 11 minutes in, and purple team is going to get an easy dragon as long with the turret. Jarvan's going to try and do what he can. He might be able to pick up this turret, but I think he's just going to bring it relatively low here. But purple team with that dragon brings their gold advantage to about 4k in their favor. And Draven with the Bloodthirster this early means he does some pretty scary damage. Shen with the Sunfire Cape is going to prevent a lot of damage there from Varus and Aatrox. And it's also going to give him quite a bit of sustained damage there during these team fights that are going to be inevitable. We've only seen some kind of gankage going on so far in skirmishes. But we're going to probably see a team fight here develop relatively soon. Elise trying to poke away a little bit at this Tristana, but just that Janna shield is too potent. Too potent indeed. So, based off of her armor and MR, it looks like Tristana has a little bit in that defensive spec. And Aatrox tries to initiate there, burns the ultimate, and then he realizes, oh crap, there's 3 of them, decides to get the hell out of there with a nice little flight. but she's doing a little bit of damage there with those Qs, and she does have that red buff, so he does need to be careful. She's not going to burn her ult on him just because he does have his passive, unless it ensures the kill afterwards. You got to remember, when he has that passive, he is invulnerable, and then he's going to be able to usually jump away. But if he does the jump to initiate and then his passive, then he's very, very vulnerable because it only regenerates, I think it's about 30% of the blood pool, which right now at this stage in the game, I think that's about 250 health. No, it's like 150, right? Uh-oh, Fiddle ult going down. Okay, we're going to back it up because I didn't see this engage. It looks like they're going to try and 3-man push here. I was looking at that specs here. And Tristana trying to do a little bit of damage, push on this turret. Uh-oh, does a very premature jump in, starts taking turret hits there because the Elise manages to land a nice stun, and down she goes there to the Fiddle ultimate with 2 assists there to the Aatrox and whatnot. And there comes a Draven ultimate, almost gets that Fiddle. So very close, that would have given him double buff, and that would have been pretty huge. And it looks like Varus and Draven are going to start to go toe-to-toe here. It looks like Sejuani's going to try and do some sort of lane, bush gank here on this Elise, but I think she realizes this ward is here, so she's just going to try and bait it. But it looks like everybody's just going to head back towards their respective lanes. Varus here is still trying to claw his way back at some semblance, but he is almost 2k behind that Draven there. That's pretty dire indeed. Aatrox here manages to push down a turret. Now the gold advantage is still only about 3k in Purple Team's favor. I'm not sure who wins this late game. I think Varus is a slightly stronger late game carry than Draven, even though those spinning axes just do incredible damage, especially once he gets a little bit of armor pen. But Varus, his mixed damage there with his W passive effect is just pretty, it can be pretty scary. So I've seen some Dravens late game that just absolutely wreck, especially if they get something, I don't know, just decent attack speed so that they can build those W passives much more often. What is that W called? I think it was Blight? Blighted Quiver, that's what it is. Okay, and it looks like Tristan's going to be relentless in her push here at this middle lane, and we'll see how this goes. She does have that Deathfire, so sure, her burst is going to be pretty ridiculous. There's a Janna shield, nice engage, and a beautiful fear there by the Fiddlesticks. Just well played there by the blue team. Managing to lock down this Tristana is going to be relatively huge. My fingers are crossed here for a comeback. I love comeback games here on these high ELO level. Jarvan doing a nice initiate. Shenton going down there, preventing him from doing too much there with his skills, but that Sunfire Cape is giving him plenty of sustain here, and it's going to prevent him from doing too much here. And it looks like Aatrox is trying to do a little bit here on this engage, and meanwhile at bottom lane it's just a farm fest. A little bit of pokage there going back and forth. Fiddlesticks is coming down, so this Draven needs to be a little bit careful. There's the Fiddle ult. Here it comes. Varus ult going down. There's the Shen ult barrier, but this Draven's not going to go down in time. Shen ult coming down. Draven ultimate dropping. There's the Janna. Manages to land the slow, and this Varus is so very dead. So very dead. There's no way he's going to get away from this. Already burned the flash, so down he goes. Meanwhile, at top lane, blue team is going to be like, uh-oh. Counter push, here it comes, but we might see this AP Trist just mop it up. Here comes the jump in, does big damage there with the ultimate, does another jump, manages to whiff it though. Jarvan is gonna maybe go down. Explosive Shot Ignite's gonna pick him up there, and double kill goes to Trist. They managed to get the turret though. Not sure if it was worth it, but they're gonna lose this turret at bottom lane, so it's definitely not worth it there in that case, if they lose this bottom turret. So Sejuani's going to go up and prevent that Aatrox from pushing too much. And it looks like Fiddlesticks is going to try and do what he can, but I don't think he can do much. He doesn't have the AP for this, and he doesn't have the ultimate or the Zonias that really allow him to do those kind of 1v5 engages. And it looks like Aatrox is trying to bait some sort of damage here. There's the Ignite there on her, but that slow is just so potent. Prevents him from engaging too much. And the Aatrox is vulnerable now. He really needs to start getting those attack speed buffs back up. Doing nice little engage there on the Fiddlesticks, but it's not going to be enough. The Fear manages to disengage that very nicely. Draven's going to come and support this Shen while he tries to get away. It looks like he Shadow Dashes through that wall. Did I just call it Shadow Dash? Derp. Oh, it is Shadow Dash. That's why. Anyway, I just got reminded of a different video. Anyway, so it looks like back at mid lane, Jarvan's going to try and push this out, get a little bit more CS. In terms of gold, it's still about 3.5k in purple team's favor, just because they managed to push some key objectives down, including 3 turrets and I believe 2 dragons now? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the purple team has gotten 2 dragons, so... Blue team has done a good job of locking down this Tristana, but now Draven is starting to get a little scary as well. So they need to be very, very careful. Very, very careful indeed. So Aatrox here still managing to linger on, even though he was counterpicked fairly hard there with that AP Trist, so... And it looks like Draven's trying to dance around with death here. There is the ultimate from Varus, and it looks like Draven is going to go down. Oop, Fear, Janna's shield is going to be nice. A nice little knockup, but she still manages to pick it up. And it looks like Elise is going to juke out, jumping to that Sejuani, and manages to get the stun, and there's the flash over the wall. Sejuani ult getting dropped, but Trist isn't going to be able to get there in time there to drop the ult. But, oh, down. Wow, God, she is doing so much damage. And there's the double kill. Well, 2 kills for purple team. And, geez, the damage she is doing, though. Absolutely ridiculous. And here she comes, jumping over the wall, doing a nice little explosive shot there. And this Varus is going to go down. This AP Trist is just wreaking havoc here over this. And down goes the Varus there to 1 final auto attack. Tristana trying to push this lane just a little bit there. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 20-minute surrender, but I think it might be a little bit premature because I feel like late game, unless Triss can get a hat and a Lichbane here fairly quickly, she's going to start to fall off. And it looks like blue team's going to try and contest this dragon here, forcing purple team back. That allows the dragon to reset here. Purple team is going to be forced back here because blue team is at full health. And with Aatrox and nearly all of blue team on the way there, it's just a little bit dangerous there. But we might see an engage. Draven ultimate is up. So is Shen ultimate. So this would be a 5v5. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. That damage. So incredible. Elise just getting a little bit greedy there, trying to steal the blue, and Tristana's mobility is just too much there, manages to pick up the nice little kill. And now purple team should be able to get this dragon quite handily just because Elise, the jungler there, is down, so they no longer have that smite presence. So the dragon will go down fairly easily. So purple team there manages to pick up the dragon, bringing that gold advantage to a little over 5k in their favor. 3 turrets to 3, but those dragons and that kill assist advantage is just starting to become a little bit out of hand here for purple team. But Aatrox here still trying to counter jungle here. He is in a very dangerous position. Sejuani is coming in. I think Aatrox is in trouble. Trying to do some very nice damage here. There's the ultimate. I think he is going to be able to pick up Sejuani. There's the taunt. He does have his passive. Nice sustain there. But there is... Okay, I believe he has his jump up. Let's see if he can escape. He needs to jump right now, but nope. Manages to get that explosive shot off. There was no hope. And down... Jarvan's going to go down here as well. Nice little flash over the wall, but she follows suit, and there's 3 people there to pick him up. So Jarvan goes down, and now Baron is going to be a very viable option here for this purple team. Their jungler is down. Nope. Positioning's not right. Draven is still at bottom lane, so they won't be able to get that. But Fiddlesticks might get caught here out of position. But it looks like he's going to manage to get away here. So, and it looks like both the AD carries are still fighting it out here at this bottom lane, and Varus is still trying to claw his way back. He doesn't even have his a major item yet, while Draven here, on the other hand, is working on that not Infinity Edge, the Phantom Dancer here very shortly. So his damage is going to start to get pretty scary. He's going to get some very nice attack speed, and I think Elise might be dead. Nope, not quite. If nope, Deathfire was still down, but just some nice damage there from the Tristana. She's just doing a very good job of putting some incredible pressure here. But I still think this blue team has a chance if they can make it to late game. But because I think Fiddlesticks is a little bit stronger at late game than Janna, if he can build. But that's a big if. And I think Varus is a little bit stronger. Finally getting that IE, and he's got a little bit of lifesteal. So it looks like he's going to be building that into the Blade of the Rune King. Oh god, that's so blown up. That damage. I want to watch it again. That was just too funny. The Tristana cutting back, realizing how exposed that Aatrox is. He decides to come back up. She just jumps over the wall, hits him with everything, and blows him away. This poor Aatrox. Just counterpicked so hard here by this this Tristana. She just is that push away. Just it's such a hardcore counterpick to that Aatrox. The ability to prevent him from getting into that melee range is so very strong. Plus that the explosive shot just nerfs his sustain, which is one of the things that makes him so prevalent here. And it looks like Elise is going to get super caught here. I don't think she's going to be able to escape. There's a repel, but I think it's too little too late. The tier 3 turret does go down there at that center lane while this is going on. So purple team has a strong push going on. Blue team, there is a surrender vote, but it fails. Jarvan here still trying to escape here, but I think they are going to be able to catch him. Draven ult going down here, but it wasn't quite positioned properly, and down goes Jarvan there. Just finally gives up hope. He was unable to do another dash there over the walls with his banner into the Dragon Strike there. But, Draven getting caught a little bit out of position here, and he is going to go down here. Aatrox managing to pick up the kill. Fiddlesticks getting an assist here, and purple team meanwhile still pushing away. No wonder why you are losing. So I don't judge Futurama too much for losing his lane so hard. He is far behind, and he's playing with the new champ. Nice little fear there on the Fiddlesticks, but I think he might get blown away still. Yep. With her last dying breath manages to blow him away, but Varus gets a nice shutdown kill there. That's going to be a nice little gold influx for him. So the gold advantage is still about 7, almost 8k in purple team's favor. So pretty scary, and Baron is going to be a huge threat here, just because that inhib is down there for blue team. I didn't go over that when it happened, but that is such a prevalent thing. When that inhib goes down, all of a sudden the global pressure at this high ELO you just lose one person and boom, Baron is just so easily. And there is the Shen ult to get out of there, and it looks like Aatrox is going to go down. I don't think he's going to be able to jump away, and Draven manages to pick up the kill there. I think with the passive it could have been an auto attack. Not quite sure what exactly picked up that auto attack. And it looks like Aatrox is actually going for the high sustain with the big lifesteal. I think he should get a little bit of tankiness, to be perfectly honest. He isn't a prevalent enough target yet to really get that, what am I thinking of? Guardian Angel, but he needs to get something. Like HP, it might not be enough, because that, looks like Tristana is going to be getting a Zhonya's next. That's my best guess. And so she'll have some pretty huge AP. She'll probably be at 600 AP here very shortly. She's at 551, so yeah, she'll be at 600 AP very, very shortly. But we're going to back it up, because I was sitting here staring, and I did notice that they were engaged, but I didn't realize how relevant it was. And Jarvan managing to get a nice little ultimate, trapping this Draven in, even though he did manage to flash away. Varus taking some very nice damage, but Varus is going to get away, snipes the Draven there. Fiddle ult going down, going to pick up Janna. This is actually going to be relatively large. If they can take down this, prevent this Tristana from pushing this lane too hard, that's going to allow these guys to maybe get Baron here. So if blue team can get this Baron, Aatrox with his ultimate does have a considerable amount of sustain there, so he will be able to tank it fairly handily. With a little bit of support, they should be able to get that Baron. So it looks like purple team's going to try and delay it for as long as possible. Draven is still coming. Here's a 3v4 engage here. Varus is still coming in. Tristana managing to blow away that Jarvan there before the team really gets too far. Sejuani ult going in, and Fiddlesticks is most likely going to get picked up here. Nice flash away. Aatrox doing a nice Q in, and down goes Trist. Nice little counter engage here on all of these people. I think they managed to pick up all three of them. A delayed ace there, but Draven and Janna are back up, and I don't think blue team has the health, though, to pick up that Baron. They need to head back now, and they still... nope, I don't believe they'll quite have time to pick up that Baron. But it was a very considerable win victory. Now the gold advantage is only about 6k in purple team's favor. So they managed to pick up 2k gold there with that engage. So that's actually relatively huge. So this might be a very long game depending on how long. It's going to basically depend on blue team winning these next team fights. If they lose one team fight, it's going to be very bad for them. But they need to win like all of these team fights, essentially. So it looks like purple team is going to start putting that Baron. That's why Aatrox was headed back. He was healing up, starting to get ready, buying that Hydra so he can be ready for that Baron fight here. And it looks like purple team is engaging it. Blue team needs to head there very soon. They do have a considerable amount of damage, and we'll take this down fairly quickly here with Draven just catching these axes here. But he is missing those. He did miss a couple there, so it's going to get delayed just a little bit here. Do they have vision of this? They don't realize how low it is. Oh, God. If this might be game, just sniping the Baron like that. I guess they decided to let it go just because they were out of position, but they this is going to be really bad. It's going to be it's going to hinge extremely. This next team fight, the positioning of it is going to be so very important. I'm sorry, my mouse is going crazy here. Aatrox burning his ultimate here. If he can pick up this Shen, Elise coming in, should be able to pick up the kill here there. But purple team, okay, so now it is a 4v5. Aatrox deciding to go for the dragon here. Meanwhile, his team is going to try and defend this top lane. They just need to protect these inhibitors. If they can keep these inhibitors, it will be a mild success here. With that Baron buff, the purple team is starting to get that gold advantage. Once again, it's only about 5.5k since they managed to pick up that turret. And so, oh gosh, Tristana just blows away Fiddlesticks. Just boom. Boom goes the dynamite. And that will probably be an inhib here. Tristana is going to just wreck it here. With her Q and the amount of AP she has, she will just absolutely wreck buildings. Absolutely wreck. Just that high attack speed here. And I'm not sure what she'll get for her last two items. I would probably get... the two choices are, she probably wants a Void Staff so they don't start building too much MR. So she start diminishing her damages too much. But... she basically has three options: Void Staff, Guardian Angel, Lichbane, Abyssal Scepter. She has to choose between those items. There is probably the most viable ones. So, but we'll see. It's all gonna really depend on what she decides. She already has the Zhonya, so she's gonna actually be relatively hard to kill now, just because of the way she can jump. And the blue team is still holding on to this, even though they did lose that inhibitor, but that is partially due to that that Baron buff. And dropping that ward is going to be relatively nice. Being able to catch these wards is very, very nice here for this blue team, because that prevents Triss from getting nice vision and just being able to blow somebody away. Like she has been relatively lately. Excuse me for the cough. But this is what I'm talking about. With that inhib down, it just puts on this global pressure on all of the lanes here. And as you can see, the purple team is just sieging multiple lanes here. If they can get another inhib down, that very well could be the game here for this blue team. But blue team is still holding on, and I give them kudos for that. So Triss looks like she burned her barrier there to prevent some of the damage there. AP Triss doesn't have a lot of sustain, so she can't really do all of the fancy tricks that she normally does. And it looks like blue team is going to lose this top turret here, and that's going to be relatively huge. This opens up all sorts of things. Varus gets ulted there, takes some considerable damage, but it looks like he is going to get away. Jarvan goes down here, and that's huge. Aatrox is most likely going to go down here. Tristana doing some very nice damage, but look at the sustain there. There's the Zhonyas, but I think she's going to explosive shot, and oh, manages to pick up the Triss. That is huge. If he can, that sustain, so much sustain. Aatrox just getting to that late game, but Draven does manage to pick up the passive there effect, and we'll see. There's a nice jump over the wall there, and he's trying to sustain. Draven ult manages to pick up that Aatrox. That is huge as well. Just these counter kills, very huge. And oh man, Varus picks up the kill there with a nice Q, diminishing the heal there. Just well done there by blue team. Just beautifully done. Aatrox managing to stay alive long enough to pick up those kills, and it looks like he decided to finally get that Negatron cloak to prevent a lot of that damage. I'm not quite sure what exactly he'll build that into. Probably the QSS into the Scimitar is my best guess, unless he decides to go with something like a Banshees, because that would actually Spirit Visage. He's just going for a huge sustain. Okay. Enormous sustain. Because Banshees would actually help quite a bit with people like Sejuani and Tristana. It would be pretty big for them. Because those are two of the relevant people. Everybody else doesn't do that much. But if they need to hold on to this inhibitor here, this exposed inhibitor, this needs to stay up. This is very, very important that stays up. Otherwise, there's just going to be too much pressure in this next Baron fight, which should be up here relatively shortly. I don't remember exactly when the Baron went down, but to be perfectly honest, blue team needs more wards. They need more wards. Fiddlesticks needs to start burning this Ruby Sightstone. They need to have vision of where purple team is, because with AP Trist, getting caught will mean death. It just will. Because if she doesn't blow you up immediately, Shen can ult in and just lock you down enough for Tristana to get another W or another explosive shot back up, and she will kill that person, almost guaranteed. Because you will need considerable amounts of MR here. Whoop! Sorry. Looking around, and this is going to be huge. Elise getting caught out of position is very, very important. Elise just getting too greedy here with the chase. Draven coming in, just landing some big, nice little stand aside there. She doesn't even have enough time there to burn the repel, and that actually might cost blue team the game here. Because Baron, I think, will be up very shortly, but this will allow purple team to push very, very hard at these turrets. And it looks like Shen is just going to one-man push here on this inhibitor, and he might actually be able to just take it down, and this four-man push here could be just like a diversion. Blue team is going to try and hold on to it, because if they lose this turret, it's going to be really rough. And Tristana at this late game, she just sieges so well. Her range is so good. Her attack speed is super steroided with that Q, and she's just burning down these turrets. Burning to the ground. Aatrox going to try and prevent this inhibitor from going down. I believe he can take Shen in a fight, but this bottom inhibitor is as good as dead. And this is going to be really rough. If purple team can push, if they catch another person out of position, it's just going to be the win. Ooh, that's nice. This inhibitor coming back up, but I think purple team might be able to bring it back down. In Elise, we do have a 5v5. Purple team is relatively split. Shen has that ultimate still, though, so he is in the fight no matter where he is positioned. And ooh, I think you're dead, Fiddle. Auto attack manages to pick up that kill there. Nice little ult through the wall, and Trist is caught. Flashes over the wall there, and ooh. Oh gosh. Let's see. There's the Shen ult. Gonna allow that Trist to stay alive for just a little bit longer there. Sejuani is a little bit caught though, but it looks like they managed to get away there. Why is their movement speed so steroided? Did she burn something? Oh, she burned a Shirelia's, it looks like. Very nice. So purple team still trying to push away here at this Lynching. Remember, it is still a 5v4. That Fiddlesticks is still low, and I believe Varus is going to be able to get away here. Aatrox is going to go down there. Oh, that's the game, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty sure that's the game. It looks like Elise manages to pick up the Tristana. She's going to try and lead them on a chase, save her team, allow that Varus to try and defend this inhibitor. But with that second inhib, it's going to be really rough for this blue team to defend. Really rough. And it looks like third inhib might go down here. We got blue team trying to catching the John out of position. There's the flash over the wall, manages to get out. And down goes that third inhib. Baron is back up. Purple team's best bet here is to just disengage, get that Baron. Blue team, though, is still trying to do what they can. Fiddlesticks ult going down, but it isn't doing that much damage because he doesn't have much AP. He only has that Haunting Guise, and Varus getting the double kill there. So we'll see if they can counter push here. Blue team needs to get that Baron. They need to get that Baron. 3 people down, only Aatrox down for blue team. Makes it very easy for them to get this Baron. Fiddlesticks can tank it still probably with that channel. It's not channeling for enough. He can't really tank it. Jarvan can tank it decently, but they're going to have to toggle it. Because Fiddlesticks is a little tanky. That looks like they're going to toggle it, and this is that Varus, that damage she's doing just with those crits. Look at him chunking Baron here. Manages to get the Baron, so they do have some semblance of a hope there. Sejuani trying to dash over the wall to try and steal the Baron, but a little too late there to that fight. And Baron buff on Aatrox is actually probably a pretty scary thing, because all of a sudden his sustain is probably really scary. So Fiddlesticks is still the weak link here. of this team fight. To be perfectly honest, you probably should have picked something a little bit more standard, like a Sona, a Leona, something like that. Having a second engager would have been really nice here, but Fiddlesticks he's not a good engager. He's just too squishy when he's not able to build items, because AP Fiddlesticks is all about catching the team off guard, letting the team fight develop a little bit, and then ulting in and just wrecking the team, or catching one person out of position, fearing them, and then draining them down so your team can pick up the kill. He's either a fantastic duelist or a fantastic ambusher. That's what Fiddlesticks does. And until he does have that Zonia, so he can do a little bit of damage. Purple team managing to get the dragon, doesn't do that much for him at this point in the game. They are only about 4K about 4K ahead of this blue team. Blue team is still holding on here, but here comes the final team fight. That Fiddlesticks gets ulted there by the Tristana, and her ult is going to be back up in about 45 seconds. So to be perfectly honest, they need Fiddlesticks to heal back up, and then they need to re-engage, because with Tristana without her ult, leaves purple team relatively vulnerable, because she really needs to burst down somebody just so she can get those W resets during the fight and just absolutely blow people away. And it looks like they're going to try and catch her, but she manages to get back. Vera's getting the Guardian Angel is going to be relatively huge, because nobody else has a Guardian Angel, and that's going to allow him to reset his fight, essentially. Aatrox getting caught a little bit out of position, but not too badly. And Tristan's ult should be back up here in about 15 seconds. So everybody's ults will be up here, but nope, everybody's ults are back up. So, and here comes that final fight. Blue team's going to try and turtle for as much as possible. They do have that Baron buff. Try and get the help of those turrets there. Tristana is starting to auto-attack that Nexus turret, though, so they do need to be careful. As soon as they start losing these Nexus turrets, the game could be over very, very quickly. There's a nice engage there on the Tristana. She manages to Zonia's it, and the turrets are going down. It is a distraction. Tristana goes down. Blue team engaging here. There's a nice Sejuani ult. There is a nice managing to save. Draven gets caught out of position, manages to flash out of the Jarvan Cataclysm here. Jarvan is out of position now, though, taking lots of damage. Aatrox trying to do what he can. Varus picks up the kill there on the Janna. Draven manages to proc that passive there on the Aatrox, but Aatrox is still up. We still have 5 people up for this blue team. If they can do this defense here, they have a chance of winning this. They do have a full 50 seconds. There's the Fiddle ult. Manages to pick up a lot of those minion CS, while meanwhile, looks like Elise is going to go for the kill here on this Draven. She's got to get that repel. There's the Q. Now she comes in, gets the stun. There's Aatrox, manages to pick up the kill, and down goes the Draven there. Blue team still holding on, even though they lost both of their Nexus turrets, and they are extremely vulnerable. Tristana could just, if they don't properly defend and they don't properly ward, Tristana could just jump over this wall and drop these, like, the inhibitors, Nexus. She could drop a lot of things just because of her ability to absolutely destroy these turrets. And it looks like she did sell that second news to Large Rod, got a Void Staff instead. So a lot of that damage is going to be mitigated. So it looks like Aatrox is going for that Stinger into the Zephyr, most likely, just for that bonus attack speed and the CDR, not the CDR, the increased tenacity in this game is starting to get really intense. We're at the 40-minute mark here coming up, and Blue team has a chance. They really do. Both of their 2 of their inhibitors came back up. I believe the third one should be coming up here relatively soon, and there it is. So it should be coming up here in about 10 seconds. So they aren't completely lost here. They need to win this next fight. They need to catch somebody out of position. Elise needs to not die, and Fiddlesticks needs to not get bursted down. They have a chance. All 3 inhibs are back up. They do have those Nexus turrets down. Their Baron buff has worn off, though, so they don't have that advantage still, and they are only down by about 2k gold. Not even. A little under 2k. So the gold advantage has started to wear off a little bit, and Fiddlesticks, once he starts getting towards this endgame, he is going to be a little bit more potent than Janna, in my opinion. She does have the ability to reset those team fights, and she does provide a lot of CC. But Fiddlesticks ult, once he gets considerable amounts of AP and that fear, if he can fear Draven or Tristana, it's going to be pretty huge. So it looks like they're dancing around. Sejuani manages to steal that blue buff, which isn't that big of a deal. It will prevent Elise from getting her cooldowns as nearly as quickly. But it looks like we've got a nice little lull here. It's the lull before the storm. We're going to have probably one more team fight here. Unless blue team just utterly crushes it, this team fight is going to be huge. If blue team even so much as barely loses it, they'll probably lose the game. That's how important this is. They need to have a decisive victory here if they want to stay in this game, because that will allow them to either get another Baron buff or it will allow them to push for the win. Because at this state in the game, people are going to be dead for like 50 seconds. Tristana looks like she's going to drop this this inhibitor, though. Blue team can't do anything about it. She just destroys these buildings like nobody's business. And it looks like a little poke here going down at this top lane. And Tristana, looks, she's eyeballing it. She wants to go for this back door, but Elise comes down trying to prevent that. Elise coming in, and there's a nice little fear. Tristana might go down here. There is the Zhonya's. Another inhibitor goes down there, and now purple team, they are going to be able to get this third inhibitor down, I think. Sejuani is going to go down. Oh, manages to dash away, though. Jarvan here doing a nice little initiate. There is a nice fiddle all doing tons of damage here. Triggering the Guardian Angel there on Draven. And blue team is going to get quite a few people down here. They need to push. Jarvan should stay back, heal up, and prevent these minions from doing too much damage. You gotta remember, these super creeps aren't coming until this wave for that one, and I believe it's this wave here. Yep. So they have a little bit of time. Aatrox and looks like Elise are going to do what they can here to burn down these turrets here. Trying to get as much attack speed as he can. Trying to get enough sustain here. But purple team is going to be coming back here. But they're both trying to do what they can here. So Sejuani is back in the fight, doing a little bit of damage here. Manages to get down a turret, and I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. These inhibitors are going to be back down for a while. Blue team, they need to do it now. They need to do it now if they're going to do it. Looks like Elise is headed back. Aatrox is headed towards blue. Maybe going to get Dragon. Blue. Yeah, they need to get right. They need to start positioning for that Baron fight. This Baron fight is going to be the final end-all, say-all to this fight. If blue team can get this Baron, that means they will probably have won the team fight. And blue team actually has a gold advantage now. Holy crap, this game, it just will not end. Oh dear. Purple team starting to position here for this Baron, dropping wards here. Elise trying to do what she can here. She does have that Oracle, so she is going to start clearing these. And blue team, purple team is starting this. Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to hide the HUD here so we can see this. Purple team going for this Baron. Varus trying to catch some people out of position. There is the Shurelias. It looks like Elise might get caught out of position here, trying to repel. Looks like she manages to repel to a little bit of safety there, but Elise does go down to that Tristana. Nice Janna ult there, preventing a lot of that fiddle damage, but Varus is just shredding people right now. Draven trying to do what he can here to stay out of the fight here. Aatrox managing to get his passive triggered, but brings down two people in the process here, and now there is only a couple people up here for this purple team. Baron is still up. It looks like blue team's going to just try and push for the win, but they need to defend. These super creeps are just going to absolutely start shredding this Nexus here, and that's going to prevent. Oh man, that's unfortunate here. Draven looks like he's going to try and engage here on this Aatrox. So it looks like Varus is going to head back, defend, take out these super creeps, and that was probably the best choice. He does have a lot of the most sustained damage here on these targets. They might still be able to get Baron. No. It's starting to become a little bit too late. By the time they would get there, purple team would be back up. I just need to hold out until these inhibitors start to come back up, and they should be coming back here very, very shortly. Jarvan getting a Tiamat here. And it looks like purple team is going to start trying to position once again for that Baron, and it looks like Jaina is going to start doing some ward clearing here, dropping wards. She missed. Nope, she's getting all the wards here, so blue team needs to position. They need to start heading towards this Baron. It's going to be so huge. This Baron buff is so vital, and it looks like they're going to get it. That's going to be so unfortunate if blue team loses this game just because of this Baron. Unfortunate. The uncontested Baron is going to cost them the game, looks like. We'll see, though. We will see indeed. Fiddlestick's ultimate is... Let's take a quick look. All the ultimates are back up, it looks like. So, blue team is aware that purple team has this Baron buff here, so they're going to probably try and turtle up again. They can't turtle up. They need to have these inhibitors come back up. And then they might have a chance here. They might be able to push or something. But that Baron buff is very relevant. They need to try and hold off for as long as possible, but they are going to get a fight here. And it looks like Purple Team is going to try for one more push here. This game just will not end. And I don't mind. I love these epic games. They're just way too much fun. Way too much fun. It's going to be a nail-biter, ladies and gentlemen, though. If Blue Team can keep holding out there, their position is only going to get stronger and stronger because I don't think Aatrox is fully built yet. He's getting pretty close. No, Aatrox is... Yeah, he's almost fully built. Elise and... it looks like Fiddlesticks are the only ones that are not fully built. So they do have all three inhibs back up. And here comes probably the final team fight. Unless they both ace each other. But with that Baron buff, it's going to be so hard. There's some nice damage. Elise gets brought incredibly low. Actually going to probably get picked up there. Goes down to the explosive shot. Varus, Guardian Angel getting triggered right there is actually very bad. And now Blue Team, 2 people down. Aatrox trying to do what he can here. Manages to pick up... Nope, not quite pick up the Draven, and that's going to be the game. Unfortunate that they lose the game to that Baron buff. That's essentially what happened. They also got caught a little bit out of position. So it was a nice game, but I was really hoping for a Blue Team comeback. But it was a nice game. Whew. Adrenaline pumping. I really enjoyed that. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I think it would have gone a little bit different there if I think Aatrox and Jarvan should have done a lane swap there. But I think they should have done a lane swap. Aatrox started to get a lot more comfortable with his champion. You could tell that he was a lot more comfortable with the champion towards the mid to late game stages of the game. But that early game, he just was getting wrecked by that explosive shot, it looks like. So, whew, nice game. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy it. Please let me know in the comment section down below how you think I'm doing. Like, favorite, subscribe if you really like it. If you really, really like it, please share it with your friends. I really do appreciate all the support. And I hope you guys did enjoy the video. One last time, I would like to thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I do hope to see you guys in the next video.